Hey everybody, welcome to this Halloween Scream Stream. My name is Kirk Shepard. You are here live in Cincinnati. We got a great show for you tonight. Thanks for being here on this Halloween evening. Let's get started. You can see I am wearing my makeshift Halloween costume. I am a 80s rocker nerd because I can't see without the glasses, so here we are. Hey, what a great show we're going to have tonight. I got some special guests already lined up and ready to go to talk about some things. Here's actually our agenda for the night. We're going to do a very brief history of Halloween because I thought it'd be interesting. And then we'll also talk top 10 horror movies of all time with our guests. They'll be joining us shortly. And then we're going to reveal the results of the poll for Best Horror Icon. You can still vote in that poll, by the way, if you go over to kirkshepard.com. Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers are our three options. You can choose which one you think is the best and most favorite horror movie icon there at that poll. And of course, as always, we'll have open chat throughout the broadcast. You can join in via your comments, and we would love to entertain and interact with you throughout the show. Real quick, if you want to support the stream, you can like, subscribe on all the platforms that we're streaming live on, which includes YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And you can also buy me a coffee, or if you really want to be generous, you can join the Patreon for exclusive access. Also, starting tomorrow, November 1st, you can get access to the weekly newsletter at kirkshepard.com. Go sign up there for weekly updates to your email. All right, let's do this thing. Let's talk about the history of Halloween. This information is barely researched, but I think that it's going to be interesting nonetheless. Halloween is a pre-Christian tradition. So, Celtic festival called Samhain was the thing that Celts used to do back to mark the end of the harvest season, and it's kind of developed ever since from there. Samhain was celebrated with feasts and bonfires, similar to what we do now with the bonfire in the fall time. It was also believed to be a time when the barriers between the physical and the spiritual worlds were down. That is where the supernatural influence of Halloween initially came from. And then by 43 AD, the Roman Empire had conquered the majority of the Celtic territory, and so two festivals of Roman origin were combined with that festival of Samhain. Those festivals were Feralia, a day in late October when the Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead. Makes sense. And then the second was a day to honor Pomona, who is the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. And the symbol of Pomona is the apple. And so that's probably how we got apple bobbing as a tradition now for our Halloween celebrations in America. Things continued out history, and then in 609 AD, the Pope dedicated the Pantheon in Rome in honor of all Christian martyrs, and the Catholic Feast of All Martyrs Day was established, which then became All Saints' Day with Pope Gregory III, and moved that day to November 1st. So then Halloween is All Hallows Eve before All Saints' Day. By the 9th century, the influence of Christianity had spread into Celtic lands, where it gradually blended with and supplanted older Celtic rites. Then in 1000 AD, the church moved All Souls' Day to November 2nd. So you had All Saints' Day on the 1st, All Souls' Day on the 2nd, and they thought they were probably trying to incorporate the Celtic festivals and replace it with a church-sanctioned holiday, because that's what the church does. Oh, look at that. We got somebody liking the stream. Hello, Brian Turner. Thank you for joining and welcoming here. That's great. That's fun. I didn't know if it was going to work. It worked. Somebody likes the stream and we get the graphics. It's amazing how technology helps make things better. Thank you for that. Hey, during these feasts, people would offer food and they would hide in disguises. Again, that's the costuming part of Halloween. And instead of playing tricks, they would pray for people's souls. But then, medieval Europe, people started to dance and play music and doing tricks on major feast days, which then interpreted into trick or treating, which caught on here in America into 1920s. But people have always objected to that, maybe not so much anymore, but all the way into the 1950s, people thought that was a form of extortion, which I thought was kind of a funny thing, and they objected to trick or treating because it seemed like it was blackmail. But today, Americans spend an estimated $6 billion annually on Halloween, making it the country's second largest commercial holiday after Christmas. So there you go, a brief history of Halloween. I think that's interesting, and hopefully by now we have some viewers to join us for the real meat of this broadcast, the part that I'm most excited about, and that's going to be our top 10 reveal of what me and my guests think are at least our favorite, but maybe not the best, but the top 10 horror films of all time. Let's bring our guests in. Here comes our first one. This is the voice of the future, Noah Gabriel from the Northern Wrestling Federation. And also joining us is Titan is also here to talk about all things horror movies. Now, I want to preface this next bit with a warning. It's a little violent. This is what went down 2 weeks ago at Burkus Brewing in Ludlow, Kentucky. That's Titan in the ring with Noah. And Noah, that had to hurt, huh?
That's actually him screaming, too.
What I don't have is the aftermath of this, which included you, Titan, grabbing a whole bunch of chairs.
We don't need to remind him.
And attacking him. Well, thankfully, Juice, NWF Superstar Juice, was on the scene to make the save. And in fact, we're going to see Titan lock horns with Juice coming up at the Northern Wrestling Federation anniversary event on Saturday, November 27th in Covington, Kentucky at Hits. Get your tickets now at nwfwrestling.com. That's going to be a great match. It's a white towel match. More details to come. You want to see it again?
No, I know. I'm good.
Okay. All right, we'll move on then. All right. Hang on, though. Wait for it.
Yeah,
there it is. There it is. Thanks, guys, for being here. It's Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
I'm glad to see I'm the only one that wore a costume.
Yeah.
I had one on before.
It wasn't part of the deal. I didn't tell him.
Well, I mean, I'm not a huge costume guy anyway.
Well, this was an Amazon last minute order. It cost me about $12, so it is what it is. Hey, are you guys ready to dig into this top 10 best horror movies of all time?
Yes.
We're going to reveal them each. We all voted, and so we're going to show our top 10 in the list, and then we'll reveal the top three, the top movie one at a time. So, first up, number 10. I picked Zombieland. Titan said 13 Ghosts, and Noah says Hush. Now, if you're watching this broadcast and you have an opinion, you want to chime in and give us your top 10 list while we're talking, do so, and we will try to incorporate that interaction with the stream. Also, if you're watching, give us a like, give us a follow. You might see your name on the screen. So, Zombieland, 13 Ghosts, and Hush. Very different options there, very different choices. Nick, Titan, tell us about 13 Ghosts. I don't think I know that one.
So that it's about this guy like inherits his uncle's estate, and his uncle was like a ghost trapper, and there's a whole big convoluted story. But it's just he has these 13 different ghosts locked in his basement, and it's really crazy. I was younger when it came out. I don't know what year it came out, but I remember watching it, and all the ghosts are really wild looking and like legit like nightmare fuel. Like I was younger, even still today, like. Now when I watch it, it's kind of campy, like looking back.
Sure.
But still, like the special effects and like
the posters
like
give me nightmares.
Crazy. Yes, like the most of the ghosts in the movie are done really well, and I always wish that like Netflix would do like a mini series or something like on each ghost.
Oh,
the stories on the DVD. One of the bonus features was you could watch little stories about each ghost, and it was done really well. So
very cool.
They're like illustrated. It was really neat.
Huh. All right, and Noah, you picked Hush.
I did. This is speaking of Netflix. This is I saw this on Netflix. I was kind of just scrolling through one day, and this came on, and the synopsis of it was what intrigued me. It's about this girl who is deaf, and she's also mute as well, and she is stalked by a crazy person outside.
Maybe I did see that, actually. Now that you tell me the synopsis, maybe I have seen this. Yes, that makes sense.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah, and the thing is that she lives like secluded away from everybody, and it's been a hot minute since I've seen it, but she's also like a writer or something.
Okay.
So it's if you've seen the movie A Quiet Place, it's kind of like that in the fact that a lot of the movie is quiet. And I also like it in the fact of how realistic it is. And I know that's kind of morbid considering it's a horror movie, but like it's kind of, that's where I think the true horror is how realistic this scenario is.
That makes sense. Hey, Fearsome Riders here watching the broadcast. And apparently 13 Ghosts is a classic. And he's telling us that he liked the 1950s version. I didn't know there was one of those. So that's interesting information.
I don't know if I did.
All right, so, very cool. Thanks
I've
for
never
being here,
seen it.
Freedom Rider. We're glad to see you again. Hey, all right, you ready for number 9? Let's do number 9. It is going to be... I picked Psycho. Titan picked It. Now, here's a question. I didn't ask this of you. Which It we talking about? We're talking about this It or this It?
So, some of my answers are like I don't put specific movies. Like you'll see I put more series than movies because it's hard because I could fill up this whole list with like 2 series and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Both versions of It would, if separated, would be on my top 10 list because if I could pick one, I like the newer one better.
Okay.
But I love the old one because it's a classic.
Yeah.
So it's I was just like general.
No, The Lost Boys might be a controversial pick. I'm not sure people would even classify it as horror, but there's some things on my list that aren't necessarily horror either. So I think that's fair. If there's got those elements of Halloweenish themes, I think that's fair game.
Yeah.
Why The Lost Boys?
This was mostly my nostalgic pick, honestly. This
You weren't
is
even
probably one
born
of
when it came out, were you?
No, well, my dad is a big horror movie
All
nut,
right,
and that's
all
kind of
right, all
why. And I remember being like 6 or 7 when I first saw like the scene in the beginning where they would fly in the parking lot and they took and I think I also remember seeing like the train scene where they jumped from the bridge or whatever. So that's honestly there for nostalgic picks, but still, like I'll watch it even to this day. Like I think I watched it like a couple months ago just for kicks and giggles.
I think it's a good choice. I like it. I picked Psycho because of for nostalgia reasons. I wasn't born when it came out either, but the filmmaking, Alfred Hitchcock's use of camera and suspense is classic, and it's really helped kind of define some of the style of horror movies to this day. So that's why I picked Psycho. There's the poster.
It's a good one. Yeah.
All right, let's do number 8. Here we go. Noah and I agree on this one.
That's crazy.
We both picked The Shining. And Titan has picked the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, you did specify this one, if I remember right, the 2003 edition of that movie.
Yeah.
Why that one over the others?
So I've seen all the old ones, and I mean I don't dislike them. I like them; they're classics. But there's just something about that remake. I think maybe just because I was younger when that one came out, and I saw that before I saw the other ones. This one made me go watch the originals. But even to this day, this is my favorite one to watch. Just everything about it. It's just such a perfect horror movie to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. And The Shining, I mean, you can't get much better than Jack Nicholson losing his mind in any movie, but especially in this one. Stephen King, one of his best. All right, up next, number 7. I picked The Cabin in the Woods, which is not maybe traditional horror, although it's definitely got horror elements. You'll notice I like things that are funny if they're going to be gory, and so Cabin in the Woods is pretty funny. And also, I thought revolutionary in some of the storytelling.
I love that movie. That movie's awesome. I kind of
I like it too. I like it too.
Titan picked Halloween. Do you have a preference over which one we're talking about?
I like a lot of them for different reasons. I really like the new ones that like just been coming out.
I like the first one. This other one, when they say no spoilers here, but we're going to give you a spoiler. Michael, you've come home. I wanted to jump out the window. But the first one of this new
I haven't seen it yet.
Good.
I'm gonna say I haven't seen it yet. So
just the focusing on the PTSD of Laurie Strode is a classic, brilliant strategy.
Yeah,
the mental health expert. I think that's pretty fun. Cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Controversially, I liked the first Rob Zombie remake.
Yeah,
like I loved that they went back and like looked more into the.
Why is it that I always like the
stuff?
first 10 minutes of all Rob Zombie's movies and then I turn them off?
Yeah,
almost every time.
I get that.
No, actually, I'm in agreement with you because, like, same with the Rob Zombie. Like, it's one of those things where I didn't know I needed an origin story until he kind of delved into it a little bit,
right?
And then, after the first 45 minutes, it's
like I would have the first 10 minutes of The Devil's Rejects on my list if it stopped after the first 10 minutes. That's the one where they go in the funhouse, right? Where they have the ride thing, or is that the other one? There's
that's House of Corpses.
That one would be on here if it was just that funhouse part and then it was done. That would be on my list. But they did too many stupid things after that. Nightmare on Elm Street, a classic. Noah,
Yes.
Freddy is nightmare fuel for sure.
Yeah. Again, this one is kind of my nostalgic pick. Once I started, really getting into horror movies around 14, 15 years old, this is my first box set of horror movies that I bought with my own money. Because, again, I was 14 or 15. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So, yeah, I bought all 8 movies in a set. And I remember cranking them all out in like a couple nights. And it's always been a soft spot with me ever since.
Cool. All right, moving right along. By the way, if you're here, here we go. We got a friend here saying hello to us.
Hey, Julian. Hey, Julian.
Inside jokes are welcome. Here we go. Number 6. I picked the Macaulay Culkin great movie, The Good Son. Have y'all seen that? It's so good.
Oh, I love that one. I love that movie.
Look at
so creepy.
It's so good.
Noah picked Scream, which I'm a huge fan of, and it's on my list a little later, I think. And then I don't know this one, Dead Girl.
Dead Girl is awesome. It's really, really, really morbid and like really like it gets really dark. I found about it because me and Jeff used to go to shows, and one time we went to a show, and on the way back, like the whole car ride, all we did was he was telling me the plot of this movie, and I was super on fire about it. And we got back to his house, and he was like, "I have it," and we watched it, and I was like, "That's awesome." I have it somewhere because you can't find it anywhere.
Oh,
So
wow.
like it's now on streaming. It was on Netflix like way back in the day, but I can never find it anywhere. So I bought it, and I have it somewhere over here on my little shelf.
Rachel says you definitely have the best picks so far, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
I
do this.
I think our friend Dustin has a chiming in. I think that must be a movie he must like. It probably is really dumb, knowing him.
Probably. It's probably like from like Patrick Swayze in the shopping mall fighting Santa Claus or something.
Right. Yes, and Nicolas Cage probably makes an appearance too. I was very relieved that none of us had the new Nicolas Cage movie about Chuck E. Cheese. Have you seen this terrible thing? Where he's
I haven't
fighting
seen it, but I've heard of
animatronics.
it.
What?
It's the worst thing I've ever seen. All right, number 5. Again, not a traditional horror pick for me, but Silence of the Lambs. I think it's a fantastic movie. Titan has picked Orphan, Noah, Predator. Again, maybe not a traditional horror pick, but I think it fits in the genre. Yeah, tell us about why you picked Predator.
Because it's basically, in my opinion, the movie Alien, which I think is on my list later. Spoiler alert. It's basically that synopsis, but in the jungle, and on top of the cheesy one-liners and the brilliant creature design of the actual monster. I think it's an all-around classic cheesy 80s movie that you could just throw on and have fun. I mean,
We weren't wrong, by the way, here. Pauly Shore is in Chopping Mall, according to our friend Dustin. So, headline, Sean Evans wants to know why I think Zombieland's in the top 10. Because it's awesome. Because it's well done.
I love Zombieland.
It's got a great cameo that I won't spoil for somebody who's not seen it. It's really a great movie.
What's your one regret, Kirk? What's your one regret?
Well, maybe allowing the headline Sean Evans to watch this stream. Here's somebody who thinks Halloween Kills is a great movie. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. I wanted to Orphan. I cannot move on without not talking about Orphan because as a mental health expert, I watched Orphan in the theater, and I watched it thinking someone has made a movie about reactive attachment disorder. It's a diagnosis where kids act out. It wasn't about that at all, as we found out later in the movie. But the first 2/3 of the movie, I thought, "Oh my god, this is like
you got it.
this is like real stuff." Why did you pick Orphan?
Well, I mean, kind of for that reason that it is one of the greatest swerves in like horror history, because you did not. I had no idea. I was thinking more like I didn't know the name of it, but I was thinking what you were thinking. Like this is just the craziest kid. Reminded me a lot of The Good Son. Like just this crazy evil kid doing stuff, and that swerve like blew my mind. And they're making another one. Like they're like filming it now. I forget her name, but I follow that girl on Instagram, and they're like in production of it right now.
Well, you've got a fan in the headline He thinks you know your horror movies.
Of course, that's like 2 people so far that like my list. I'm winning, you guys.
You were winning a competition we're not even having. All right, number 4. Oh, I was surprised that neither one of you picked Get Out for your lists. I think as far as modern horror movies, I mean, it's one of the highest rated Rotten Tomatoes movies of all time, and maybe the highest rated horror movie ever. Get Out, really good if you've not seen that. That's pretty good. Noah, you picked Alien, and Titan, you picked Friday the 13th. Great choice. By the way, speaking of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, if you have not voted yet in the poll, we're going to reveal who the best icon is. So Freddy, Jason, or Michael Myers, get on that at kirkshepherd.com and make sure you vote so we can reveal those results here live on the air when we finish this top 10 list. Alien. You compared Alien to Predator earlier, and that it was similar.
I think Alien gets a little bit higher on the list because it's just a little bit more eerie and
I think that they I think that they
Good night. Good night.
Let's see.
It's a little too late for Noah, everybody.
I think not only is Titan Pile driving you, but so are some others here on the broadcast. Let's go back to our list here. Okay. Friday the 13th, I don't think that needs any explanation. That's a pretty great thing. Okay.
I pulled the mask out for that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got it?
Yeah, when I went to Vegas, I went to Nightmare Toys. And it's
cool.
like one of the replica ones. So
Where'd you stay in Vegas when you went?
The Flamingo.
All right, maybe we'll have you back for a Vegas themed.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope. That was a good time.
One of my favorite places in the world. All right, number 3.
I went during COVID, so that's a whole story.
I did too. I went for my birthday, and it was pretty terrible.
That's right.
One of the worst experiences of my life, actually. Let's see if I can get this. For some reason, it's not wanting to click over. Let's see if I can move to number 3. There we go. This is interesting. You and I agreed about Scream. And Noah, you said Saw, which I think is an excellent choice as well. Scream, as far as, again, comedy. I'm interested in that sort of... why do I have the Scream poster? Oh, there it is. There's the Scream poster. It was such a great, like Cabin in the Woods, sort of poking fun at horror. Yeah, meta. And I thought it was just really brilliant. Really well done. And yes, I think that this is both. Saw is also a great choice.
Yeah. I mean, I think Saw kind of speaks for itself now, but, again, it goes back to the whole, it's a little bit more over the top, but it's still kind of realistic in the fact that, serial killer and, the whole mystery aspect. And then, as the movies went on and on, the traps themselves became kind of a cult classic aspect of the movie in and of itself. Kind of like, I don't know. It's almost as if like the movie and the plot and the traps almost have their 2 separate fan bases as the movies went on.
Yeah. Good choice. All right, number 2.
I just want to say, standing by, I had my Scream.
I love it.
Box set.
I love it.
That was another one I couldn't find forever.
It's interesting to me. I think they got worse in order as well. I thought Scream was the best. Scream 2 was okay. Scream 3 was Scream 4 was not great.
I would agree with that.
But I think they're making a new one. Is that right?
Expert? Yep, they're making a new one. Yeah, they are. But it's gonna have a reboot, so it's just gonna be called Scream. But it's just continuing the story of Sydney and all of them.
Headline wants to know what the first movie that scared each person was. That's a great question, actually.
Oh,
I think that for me, it was a terrible, terrible film called Basket Case. Have you seen this, Titan? It seems like it might be right up your alley. It was about a Siamese twin growth who'd been cut off of a man, and he carried it around in a basket, and it became a murderous tumor, and it was killing people. And I remember watching it when I was in like elementary school, and it was the first scary thing I'd ever seen because I was pretty sheltered, and it ruined me.
I've never
terrible,
heard of this.
Terrible. Basket Case, it's called. It was awful.
Never heard of this.
Noah, what's the first thing that you saw that scared you? Bambi?
You should just rebrand this Noah's Roast Hour.
Here goes Noah.
Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is. Do you remember what the first thing you saw that scared you?
Actually, I do. I was 8 years old, and it was specifically the scene in Pet Sematary.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Where like the wife is hallucinating, and she goes back in time, or like she has a vision of when she was taking care of her sister, and like the decrepit, sister kind of sitting up, and like to this day, like I'm like, nope, I can't do it. And it's like it's stupid, but at the same time, it's like there's just something about that the design of it all and the makeup that just makes me.
It's a good movie. Titan would ask you, but you've never been scared in your life, right?
No, nothing scares me.
Do you remember though when you were little? When you were a little Titan, did you have anything that frightened you?
Pet Sematary sticks out a lot.
Yeah.
Like that, I remember that movie really. Like I remember that scene like really messed with me. And the other one was, of course, Child's Play.
Oh,
we didn't have the DVD. We had a bootleg of it, and I knew what it looked like just because of the way it was a bootleg. And my brother would just hold it up and like he would threaten me like, "Oh, we're gonna watch Child's Play," and I'd flip out. Like, it freaked me out really bad. I didn't even want to watch it to a point until later.
Catching up here, Pat says that Saw's original twist ending is incredible. Fearsome Rider says Phantasm was the movie that scared him. We'll get to more of that in a minute. Let's see. Get rid of that. All right. So number 2 for me, Misery. I can't believe you guys didn't put Misery on the list. Kathy Bates.
About to say, the Kathy Bates movie.
Amazing film.
Yeah, that's a good one.
My favorite Stephen King story, actually. Titan, you said Nightmare on Elm Street, which that makes total sense. That should be right there in the top 5 or top 3. And Noah, you said The Thing, and you said the original version of The Thing, which I think is maybe the 80s. I think there may have been an earlier Thing back from the 50s or something, but this was a good John Carpenter film.
Yeah, I think this is one of those movies or horror movies that doesn't really get talked about, and it's super underrated because to me, the real horror of The Thing isn't the monster that can shapeshift itself. The true horror in the movie is everybody turning on each other because again, the Thing is shapeshifting, and you don't know who's who and who can trust who, and then
it's like the Terminator.
Except there's a little bit more of a horror element.
That makes sense. All right, are we ready to reveal our top horror movie pick of all time?
We all agree.
If you're in the chat, no, we did not all agree. If you're in the chat, here we go, and you would like to chime in, I'd love to see that before we reveal this. Salem's Lot is scary too. Yes, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Anything Stephen King. Have you guys seen Castle Rock, the show on Hulu, by the way?
No.
The second season was better than the first, where it featured kind of a hybrid between Misery and the vampire movie, the Stephen King vampire movie. But it's all set in the Stephen King universe, so there's all these different crossover things. It's really funny that you say that, Dustin, because I actually had Arachnophobia on my initial list when I was trying to figure out what to list on here to be different, and I took it off because it had too many other picks. But that was one of my picks. All right, my number 1 horror movie pick of all time is Halloween.
Oh, it is.
I would say that the original one, probably first as far as just a film, as far as like revolutionary things. I also, though, love that new reboot with Laurie Strode being the focus of that. Noah agrees with me.
Oh.
So that's pretty good. And then Titan, your number 1 movie pick of a horror movie pick of all time, Child's Play.
Of course.
I think you have a prop there ready to go. Is that correct?
Yeah. I got my my actual Chucky doll. I got the box and everything right here. Everything in the world. He talks, but his voice box ran out of batteries, and I didn't get any more while I was out. So he doesn't talk anymore. But yeah, I got my Chucky right here. He's my friend Teddy in.
There it is. If you are in the YouTube room or the Twitch room, you should be able to vote right here in the stream, apparently. And we're going to reveal that shortly in just a minute. the best horror movie icon of all time. Chucky did not make the final cut for the final 3, unfortunately, but he's pretty creepy. What'd you think of the new one, the reboot?
So,
Oh boy.
with Child's Play being my favorite, I went into it kind of like I wasn't sure how to feel. And when I heard about the plot, going into expert mode here, back in the original movie, that was one of the original plots, was a computerized toy, and then they changed it because of another movie came out, Batteries Not Included, I believe, came out, and they were it's too similar.
Yeah.
And so that was like a scrapped idea. So I was like, okay, cool, we'll get to see that.
Yeah.
But the way it was done, I feel like if you would have just changed the name of the movie, it would have got received better, because it didn't need to be a Chucky movie.
Right.
And so it was a good enough movie. It just didn't need to be a Child's Play movie.
Sure. Makes sense. Yeah. And now if that Chucky doll comes up behind you with a knife, I'm turning this thing off.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything either. I'm just going to kind of walk away.
I'll swivel my chair back.
You know what? I think with some things we missed, and I was surprised none of us picked. This one probably should have been on the list for sure.
Yeah.
Talk about terrifying.
See, I think I was too far. I was too far past that when I went back to it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Exorcist until I was like a teenager.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is.
Yeah, but you don't have any. You don't believe in that stuff. You're an atheist, avowed atheist. You don't believe that stuff's real. When you grew up the way I did, that's scary stuff.
I could see that. But I mean, I do like stuff, involving like ghosts and possessions. I love like some of the newer movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I think Exorcist didn't get me because like it just looked too old. And when I watched it, the first time I watched it, I wasn't into like appreciation of it. I was watching it because like, oh, this is a good horror movie I hear, and I was like, this is old and crap. And I just never every time I watched it, that kind of like.
That's what I thought about Night of the Living Dead, which is again a classic horror film, but didn't scare me because it's old. Also, The Omen, that's a great choice. That's a precursor to the Good Son kind of idea with a little kid that's being scary and an orphan. Also, I thought Amityville Horror might be on one of our lists, but it wasn't. But good choices though. I think all the way around. Anybody else in the chat have a favorite that we didn't mention that we should bring up and put on the screen before we reveal the winner of our poll? Let's get this going here.
You were talking about like movies that are meta. How do you feel about Shaun of the Dead? Because I was flirting with that one for like a little bit.
Yeah, that would have been a good choice. I would have thought that. Or what's the one it parodies? Is it Day of the Dead, or isn't it kind of a takeoff of another modern horror movie?
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Which I like that one too.
Yeah.
I like some of the newer of the Dead movies that they kind of tried to get back going. There was a couple of them that were all right.
Just because I want to see it again.
Speaking of Dead.
Don't forget, coming up on Saturday night, November the 27th, that's Thanksgiving weekend, you will see Titan taking on Juice, who's the man that came to Noah's rescue after that pile driver happened. That was
you don't have to go back to it. You don't have to.
It's kind of fun to see it again, though.
Yeah, it's funny. Look at you. Look at that sleep you're getting. I haven't slept like that in years.
Honestly, I haven't. You're right.
Are we ready to find out? Oh, there it is. There's the results. They're already up. I was going to do a fancy drum roll and everything, but there it is. There's the drum roll. Michael Myers wins with 39% of the vote for top horror icon over Freddy and Jason. It was a close call. I think that's pretty good. This is not very nice. I assume he meant Noah's mom, but maybe because he's missing that tooth, he couldn't say the S. Anyway, hey, this has been a great Halloween show. We should do more of this kind of stuff. We got to vote for Freddy here, by the way, just a closing shot here. Freddy should have won the winner, but sorry, the people voted, and it was Michael Myers as the winner, which makes sense because it was my top Halloween movie of all time, horror movie of all time, and Noah's, actually. So,
and I mean, it's the freshest. That movie just came out, so everybody's hot on it right now.
That's true. That is a good point. All right, guys, thanks for being here. This has been a great time. We're going to come back on
Thank
this
you.
Thursday night. You see me live every Thursday at 10 p.m. I won't have the wig. And check out more specials coming up. We'll do Thanksgiving. We'll do Christmas. We'll do it all. We'll see you next time. Thank you.